Yes, guys, and welcome to Talk Random. This has been a long time coming, guys. I have a very special guest on the show today. He is former footballer for Donny and Leeds, and he's absolutely smashing it at Charlie, a mental health advocate. It is Billy Whitehouse. How are you, Billy?
How are you, mate? You all right?
I'm perfectly. I'm not going to lie, Billy. I am glad to have you here. How have you been today?
Really good. Looking forward to
How's
this.
the journey getting here?
Yeah, nice and simple from Manchester.
From Donny, as I said, guys. So, do you want to talk about your journey with football?
Yeah. So I signed for Doncaster Rovers when I was 12.
Wow, such a young age.
Yeah, and then I moved to Leeds when I was 20. Had a year there. Then struggled to get a club for a year. Ended up playing for Doncaster, which is 7 leagues below Leeds. And then I moved to the New Saints in Wales. Now I'm at Charlie.
Charlie, so do you want to talk about your career at Donny at 12 years old, getting signed at such a young age? How did that feel for you growing up?
Well, it was always something I'd wanted to do. I think there was nothing else. And school didn't bother me as bad as that sounds. I just wanted to be a footballer. I just wanted to do that every day and be the best footballer I could be. And then, I was fortunate enough to get through the academy, the ranks, and then get into the first team. So I think, the main thing for me was dream came true.
Your dream did come true. So what age were you when you went first team?
I remember debut when I was 18 years old.
Wow, what was it like as a young 18-year-old lad? Like, the whole world's watching you, playing your debut. What was it like for you?
Surreal, just because I'd supported Doncaster growing up, so I'd been to the games, and some of the players who I'd watched growing up and I'd had them on the back of my shirts as a kid, ended up making my debut on the pitch with them, so that was even more surreal. And then to be teammates with them for 2 or 3 seasons, it was just crazy,
Speaking about living your dream into a reality, playing with those players, what was it like there, the first ever film? How are they supportive towards you?
Yeah, I think you have to adjust quick to be a footballer. I think the main focus is to sort of get involved as soon as, and don't let it pass you by. And the main thing for me was, at the end of the day, the competitors, you've got to break it down, and they're fighting for their mortgage, I'm fighting for a new contract to stay in the game.
And who's your first team against your debut?
It was Burton Albion away.
Did you win?
Yeah, we won 3-0.
Yes. And did you score?
No, I'd only played about 10 minutes, but then the week after we played against Notts County and I started, and I remember playing against Alan Smith, who'd ended up playing for United and Leeds, and he threatened to snap me in half because I'd nutmegged him in the first minute. So
see, you remember the football,
little things like that.
That to you, what were you like, bloody hell? Have you cleared the air now?
Yeah, to be honest, I buzzed off it. I was like, right, I'm here now. So go and do it again. That's my mindset. So intimidating is.
And then speaking about 18 and then 20 years old, were you 20 years old? You went to Leeds, a bigger club.
Yeah.
Premier League. Is it Premier League?
It was Championship.
Championship then. Yeah. What was it like then? At such a young age, a 20-year-old lad, your dreams have come true, and now you're in Leeds.
Well, it was such a complex situation because at the time I didn't really want to leave Doncaster because I loved the club. But when someone like Leeds United come calling, you think, well, I can't turn it down. I remember having a conversation with the first team coach at Doncaster saying, I don't want to go, I want to fight for my place at Doncaster. And he was like, you can't turn Leeds United down. It's such a big club. And then that sort of sank in. And from then, I thought, I'll take this opportunity and go with it. It was such a huge club, and everything to go with the club is what you'd expect, And again, you have to adjust quick.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking about adjusting to the club, you made your debut at Leeds. And was it a successful time like it was in Doncaster, or did you have your struggles?
Well, to be honest, I'd gone in there as a young player, so my first thing was having pre-season with the under-23s, and most of the older 23s were training with the first team, so they had the step in front of me to sort of go and prove themselves. So I was sort of not behind as such, but I had to prove myself a little bit more to get in the first team throughout the season. So, I ended up getting into the first team sort of training and dressing room at around November time, and from then on I didn't really look back until my debut, and I just felt at home with it. I felt comfortable to be in that environment on and off the pitch. I did everything right and worked as hard as I could, and I felt like I belonged there.
Yeah. And you said you got let go midway through, so you're there for a year.
I was there for a year. I left in July. July.
What was that like, and what was the reason behind it?
Well, it was a crazy time because I remember being told I was going to get offered a new contract at first, and I'd just played in the first team, so at that time you're thinking this couldn't be any better, getting a new contract at a massive club, just played in the first team.
Yeah.
And then there was a changeover in the chairman, so Radrazani had come in for Massimo Marcellino, and he just went real quiet. So it got to the summer and it was just a case of, look, we're going to go a different direction. I think they signed 5 players from Barcelona's youth. So they've gone a different way now they wanted to approach.
And they left you waiting for your place. And how was that for you? Like during a time where obviously you're such a young player, you're at the height of your career, at your prime. What was it like for you waiting all them months and then to get told we're not signing you?
Well, just turning 21 years old, you're thinking, I've left Leeds United, it's such a big club. I'm going to get another club quite comfortably.
Yeah.
Not to a point where it was arrogant, but I'm going to get a club.
Obviously you can't go down.
Yeah. So at that point, I've gone on trial at probably 5 or 6 clubs, and there's probably a couple of opportunities I probably should have took, but being a naive 21-year-old and having no sort of guidance from previous employers, it's difficult. So I ended up not having a club until February. I remember perfectly, I went over to Shamrock Rovers in Ireland, and I had a trial there, and I sort of said to myself, I've done well enough to get a contract, but if I don't, then this leaves me in a position where do I try and do something else.
Yeah.
As much as I love football, I don't want to look at it in a position where I have a bitter taste when I think about it.
Yeah.
So I came back, and I think I had a 2-week period where I really didn't know what I was doing, and I struggled, to be honest, just for the fact of this could be it. This could be the end of my football career at 21. 6 months before, I'm playing on BT Sport, which is such a crazy thing. And then I ended up signing for Doncaster Albion, 7 leagues below Leeds, and you're thinking, and this is no disrespect to Doncaster because I love the club, but what am I doing here? Playing with players who are coming from a job, whereas it was my full-time job.
And that must have been a struggle for you as such a 21-year-old. You're like, obviously, you're meant to go to another club, not being arrogant, like you said, and obviously, like I'd be like, you're like the next big thing. As a young 21-year-old player, how is that for your mental health and no income, no steady income? Because you're used to that steady income coming in, used to that training, that physicality as a footballer. When all that stopped, how's that for your mental health?
Massive. I mean, I never play. I still don't play football for the money. I think
that's a good thing about you. Like you said, like you don't play football for the money, you play it for your own. Because it's a thing that you enjoy. It's your passion. As a kid, you've loved it.
Yeah.
How's as a kid? How was that for you as a young 21-year-old player having no football?
Well, that was the most. When I look back now, I struggled more than I actually thought. When you think about when you're going through something, you don't actually think you're struggling as bad as you are. But at that time, looking back, my biggest struggle was probably seeing other people doing well, and I'm just sort of, and you're isolated because people work. I'm at the gym twice a day thinking, come on, something's going to... And obviously, eventually it does...
Something did come up.
But through the adversity of that, it's so difficult to sort of say, I'm 21, just played for Leeds United, still probably trying to figure myself out on a personal note. At 21, I don't think you really know yourself. You're still trying to work out what you like, what you do with, your friends, relationships. And it was difficult. And I think, when I look back more now, I see how much I struggled. Whereas if I was to go through it now, I'd have probably, spoke to someone and gone through it in an easy way. But I isolated myself from everyone. I isolated myself from my friends. I was fortunate if I've got a family.
Yeah.
And then we touch on my cousin, and now that was like a big, changeover for me.
And speaking about like family and changeover for you and like isolated, it must have been not good for your mental health. Going back then, looking back at other people succeeding, and you're at the gym 2 days a week. How was that for your mental health, and how did your family support you?
Well, my dad's a huge inspiration for me, just because.
I met his dad. His dad is absolutely amazing, by the way. So is Jeannie and Joanne.
Yeah, the family. I remember when I was younger, I was about 14, 15, and my dad didn't work for a year. Similar situation in his field. And seeing him just get through that was such a massive inspiration for me. So knowing that someone else has done it and got through it, and it being my dad, it was tough, but at the same time, I knew my family would have my back no matter what.
Yeah.
And I just knew that they'd support me in anything I did. Even if I walked away from the game then, I knew they wouldn't look at me in a different way, and they wouldn't judge me in what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and speaking about like judging you not what to do you feel like football clubs need to do a lot more when they let players go? Because, like we said, like a year or so ago, a young player got let go from City, and unfortunately he died by suicide. And do you feel like a lot more players need support in that field and football and mental health? Because obviously it's meant to be a men's sport, a fun sport, but yet again, the mental health side does come into it as well.
Definitely. I think we spoke about Crystal Palace doing the aftercare, which is so important. And when I left Leeds, I would never talk bad about the club. I think it's an excellent club. But you are again isolated. You sort of out the door with your bags packed, and that's
Left
it.
to your own devices.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's such a difficult time, especially again, you're still working yourself out. You're still trying to find out who you are, and if a club doesn't help you out, or have someone who you can speak to, then you are on your own. And for instance, you're even worse if you're someone who's living over here from a different country, struggling with the language, or live on your own. There's so many different things now. It could be difficult, and I just think there should be more. Even if there's something where there's a place where they can train, I think the FA could do something where if players haven't got a club, they can come and stay at St George's Park and train to keep fit and do it that way.
You need that stability of like fitness, that momentum of going getting fit. Having that like structure in your life, because obviously your physical health is just as important as your mental health. And speaking about like your physical health and your mental health, once you left Leeds, you mentioned before your cousin. Do you want to talk about your cousin, how your cousin came into it as well?
Well, I just remember it clear as day, to be honest, because I remember we always used to link at my grandma's house and meet there and have a coffee or what have you and just talk. And I remember me being really low and probably being a little bit unsociable, if anything.
Yeah.
And he's asking me questions about football, wanting to talk about football. I wasn't necessarily rude, but I can imagine my conversation being quite flat.
And like one-sided.
Yeah. And then I remember just looking back a little bit and thinking, well, you know what? He struggles so much every single day, and I'm moaning about not having a football club. So to put that in perspective, I'm thinking, if he can struggle that much, then I can get myself out of this. And that was just inspiring for me to see him still positive, still bubbly, still wanting to talk about my life, and then me to be moping around that I ain't got a football club, when in reality, as much as I love football and I love the game, there is so much more going on in life than just not having a job as such.
And you mentioned like his struggles and everything. Your cousin's Jonathan, and he's got his own mental health struggles. Do you want to talk about that as a family and how that inspired you to become even more of a better person that you already are?
Yeah, well, we'd always spoke together about maybe hosting a football match because it's something we'd always had in common. And I remember signing for the New Saints in Wales, and that was probably the first time I'd got a little bit of stability back into my life from playing for Doncaster, then moving there.
It's Doncaster, then New Saints a bit up.
New Saints is the Welsh Prem, so I'd gone from playing bottom of semi-pro to playing in the Champions League qualifiers in the space of 6 months, which was just wild. I remember just sitting down one day and thinking, right, we're going to do this football match, and we're going to do it for Jonathan. And the first one was just crazy how many people wanted to play, get involved. And that was the original plan for Mind Over Matter, was just to have a match, to then it just having such a positive impact on the community in itself, to then it being Mind Over Matter charity. So again, that was the reason we looked to set that up, and then we're here now.
And then Mind Over Matter Charity is a charity based in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, enabling young people and people through sports and mental health, and you like Zumba classes. Do you want to speak about Jonathan and how much of an inspiration he was to you and like his struggle? Because obviously he's in a home still, he has his own demons, but as a family, he's so supporting him as a family, and he comes down to the charity games every Sunday. Do you want to talk about a bit more like Mind Over Matter and where you see it like next?
Yeah, I don't think there's any filter to it. I think what we want to achieve as a unit, everyone who's involved with us, it's just try and do as much on every side of it. I mean, again, we've got a football team, which we've got an over 35s.
Your brother's on your team as well.
Big up to your brother. What's his name? Jamie. His nickname's Turtle, if you want to know
Turtle.
that.
He looks like a turtle too.
Yeah, he does. We've got an over 35s, a women's team joining us next year. So, we've got that side. We do the Zumba. We've got a boxing club.
Has Jeannie done Zumba?
Yeah, she has. Yeah.
Oh my days.
I've done Zumba.
Have you really?
Yeah.
A video of Jeannie doing Zumba.
I'll send it you after.
Yes.
Yeah. Boxing club starting, running club starting this summer. So, everything's kicking on. And that's our main goal, is just to try and raise awareness, but having different activities like we do frame of mind walks every weekend.
I like that. I'm going to come down to Doncaster because obviously it's like such an important aspect of life is just to achieve so many great things in aid for your cousin, and you're doing it for your cousin because you're showing him, you know what, he inspired you, now you're inspiring him become the best Jonathan he can be. And obviously he still has to struggle with like mental health. One thing what annoys me is when people say, "Oh, mental health's cured." It's not cured. You're managing it, and like you mentioned, off camera. We talked about how he's still on medication, how he's not cured, but he's still managing it.
Yeah.
But he still always looks forward to the Sunday games, and that's what his looks forward to is the Sunday games. For him attending the Sunday games, how much have you seen his confidence grow? And because he lifts the trophy up
massively. I think just the main thing for him is knowing that he's involved in a movement, and I think even if you don't struggle with your mental health, I think being involved in something more or less prevents that as such. You know, you want to be involved in a community thing, want to be involved in a project.
Yeah.
And, you know, so many people know who he is now. He's a bit of a local celebrity.
Yeah, he's a local celebrity in Donny.
Yeah.
Like, literally, because I am speaking about how I met you as well. Bashi, who can't be here obviously, played for Charlie, and I met Billy's family through Charlie. Like his mum, his dad, his sister. Not his sister, so his girlfriend's sister, and Turtle. I just started speaking about I'm passionate about my mental health, and she goes, "Oh yeah, so my son Billy, like number 7." I was like, "Oh really? All right." And we started chatting about it every week. Started chatting, then eventually I followed him on Twitter. I was a bit nervous. I thought, all right, okay. I just started chatting, and just to see like your family supportiveness come through on the pitch as well, and like fast forward present day-ish, you're playing for Charlie, you're absolutely smashing it. Do you want to talk about the love for Charlie and how the trials came about for your gaffer?
Yeah, well, again, just because I'd had that period where I'd not played for a long time, then went to the New Saints, and again, COVID hit, didn't really see eye to eye with the manager at that point, so I ended up leaving the club quite early. I had about 4 months where I didn't have a club again, but that was sort of natural in that period. And I remember Jamie, the manager at Charlie, just sort of saying, "Come and have a game," just for fitness, really. It wasn't looked at as a trial, probably. It was probably more, can we get a number in to have a look? And straight away, once I'd had a discussion with him, I just knew that something good could have happened. And I'd gone from, you know, not playing at all for 2 seasons, really, to started every league game this season, which for me is massive.
The momentum, he believed in you. He had to give you a trial. Did you approach him as well?
It was like sort of mutual.
And that's the thing, like, don't talk about how much of an inspiration he is to you. Like, obviously, like, he supported you loads.
Yeah.
He gave you a trial, and then you play, and now you've not had, like, since I've been coming to the games regularly, like, you've not had a day off playing. You've always played. And one thing I do love about like the Charlie, especially like how you all the players come together. If someone's down, you all come together. You're all on social media. And one thing about Charlie players is they're all passionate about mental health, like the Andy's Man Club. As a team, how supportive is Charlie, and how important is it as a team to all help each other out?
It's the best group I've been involved in, and I've said that on record a few times. I think just the group itself is so different in terms of different characters, but it all works together as one. I don't think there's anyone who, you know, has got a problem with anyone, and I've never ever seen that where someone doesn't have a set to with someone. Because
when I go to matches normally, like obviously when I go to your games, and like the away teams, they're always like bickering with each other. They're always like disagreeing with each other. Whereas you guys, you don't do that. You always get back up. Although someone misses like a penalty, although someone misses a free kick or a corner, although it doesn't go well, you all still come together. How important is it to look after your mental health if you're ever like struggling? How important is it to ask for help and open up as a man?
It's just difficult in general.
I think. Because as a society we're told not to man up, hold your emotions. Don't show your emotions, just because you get labelled as being weak, and that's what society makes you feel like. Whereas Charlie have Andy's Man Club, like we have men coming in speaking, and I've noticed even when I'm listening in the crowds, like the positivity about everyone supporting each other, and like it's fun because when I go to the games, how much have you heard of the guy that goes, Charlie?
I've heard him, yeah.
So I look at him and I start laughing, like I recognise that voice and he recognised me. Everyone like onto each other. And like when you like get fouled or when you get sent off, everyone like clapping. And I've not seen that in a club really.
I just think everyone to do with the club knows not what their role is, but if they want to be at this club, they have to understand what it entails. And again, going back, I look forward just to going into the dressing room. Never mind going and playing.
Because Bashi mentions it, how much fun it is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. And, you know, you can say anything to anyone and pull them up on something if they've done something which you don't agree with. And they wouldn't take that and go, you know, oh my God, they've come for me there. That's come from a good place.
Yeah, it's true. And then do you want to talk about like good places, like more fun times as well, being at Charlie? So you had your party in Newcastle.
Yeah.
And your role was to give Bashi Was it fancy dress party?
Yeah, yeah.
And you give Bashy Freddie Turkery.
Yeah.
What was that like? It was so fun looking at that, the momentum, having days out like away from the pitch. What's it like?
Just incredible. I think again that's probably the best Christmas do I've ever been on. Just with the lads itself, it's just it's going to be brilliant in everything we do. Such a collective group, such an incredible, and again a lot of people come from different backgrounds. Me travelling from Yorkshire, it's a long way for me, but you don't see me complain about that because I'd rather drive longer to a place where you love, and then instead of driving 10 minutes down the road and not enjoy it as much just because it's convenient. But little things like that, I think after that we'd gone on like a 15-game run where we'd not got beat after that Christmas do. But it's just a little things like that what keep you together.
Yeah, and for me personally, like just speaking to you, like got to get to know you via your parents and the seniors play, and then getting to know you through like the mutual friend Bashy. It's like refreshing to see like. You helped Basher come out of his own shell as well because he was nervous. He's going to be embarrassed now. He was nervous playing Charlie.
Hi, John.
Yes, John Basher. So you've made him come out of his own shell. And it's so good because he speaks highly of all you guys. And, yes, I love playing for Charlie. Because I noticed when he's at other club previously, he wasn't that happy. Me personally, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But Charlie, literally everyone's there. Everyone's happy. Everyone's buzzing.
Yeah.
And I feel like props goes to the gaffer as well. He got head teacher of the year.
Yeah.
And one people don't realise is like, fans might not realise it, or the way people, these guys work hard behind the scenes, like they've got full-time jobs as head teachers, but yet working as how have you seen him like support you so much, and how I don't know how he does it.
I just think, and he probably wouldn't mind me saying this, he's probably not a coach in that sense, but as a man management sort of, he's probably the best I've come across in terms of dealing with you, having a discussion. He sometimes just rings me and has a chat with me, and probably doesn't realise how far that goes.
Yeah, because he
sometimes I don't even speak about football.
Just how you are and everything, checking how you are.
That's so important, and I know that probably does come from the school background, but as a man management sort of staff, him and Andy Priest as well.
Is that the ball guy?
Yeah.
That's always shouting, oh yeah.
But even after, you'd think he'd be like that in the dressing room. He's the calmest man ever. Yeah.
Yeah, because one thing that made me laugh was, hope you don't mind me saying this, when he got the yellow card.
Yeah.
Jamie got the yellow card, just like tapping the ball.
Yeah.
And his reaction was calm, cool and collected, whereas the fans are all shouting. Even me, sometimes I can give it. And I got to realise it's a game, but it's the fun side of it as well. Like no one realises like how much fun you have when you're at a game. It's fun. And how is it for you to see the fans cheering you on, clapping for you, week in, week out? You see the same regular fans. And what's that like for you?
It's incredible. I mean, again, going back to the management as well, we all know what our jobs are. So, I know that I'd run through a brick wall for the club, especially the management, because of how they've been with me. But that, stems into the fans. You want to play for the fans as much as possible. And I think there's some games where the atmosphere has been incredible.
And if you did have a bad day on the pitch, what's the momentum like? Because I know you all stick together. Because I know sometimes when you all lose, you all come back. Like first half, you're struggling. Then in the second half, you come back. Do you have a discussion in the changing room to see what's going on?
Definitely. I think there's been times where like I've dug someone out, they've dug me, and we've not had a scuffle, but we've had a set to, and I think that's absolutely normal. Sometimes the manager didn't even have to say anything. I remember when me and Tomo had a little bit of a...
Like number 10?
Yeah, had a little bit of a bite at each other at Farsley away, and he was buzzing off it. He was like, love that, because we've took it on upon ourselves to deal with that. And
management didn't have to get involved.
Yeah, he didn't have to, because we expect... And we joke about it now, we call it 5-yard pass, because that's what it was about. Yeah. But that's how high our standards are, because if a 5-yard pass has gone into us having an argument, or because we've conceded a goal, we'll dig each other out.
Because when he missed a penalty as well, obviously things happen for a reason. I've noticed you all hugged him straight away. Like
that's what I was just going to say. If you watch that, then we're all around him straight away, because we know that. Well, you look at 2 weeks later, Kidderminster, he's dribbled through and scored a great goal.
And like on Saturday as well, like against Guiseley, when he got yellow card, he missed, but then he scored. Literally 5 minutes later, he absolutely scored.
I was fuming about that because I wanted him to say it to me.
Yeah,
I was at the side of him.
To you, and that's the thing. Sometimes they don't. Obviously, in the heat of the moment, like you assist each other and everything. You help each other. But when he scored, like you're all absolutely smashing it. And for you as well, like I remember one time you won like man of the match twice in a row. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And like, how was that for you as well?
I think it's just a big thing for me just because of where I've been over the last few years, and now I'm 25 now, and I feel like I'm just starting my career. If I'm honest, I feel like the last 5 years.
Drogba started his career at 27, really.
Exactly, and to be honest, I feel like I'm a bit of a late bloomer, and people are just starting to see the best of me now in terms of physically, I'm probably in the best shape I've been in. Mentally, I'm definitely in the best place I've been in.
And you have such a supportive family, but you obviously have Jeannie, Joanne, your dad, but one person who's always supported you is Levi.
Levi,
his girlfriend.
She'll be loving this, by the way.
Yeah,
she's
Levi,
got to mention.
So when I go to the games, I saw this girl. So who's this girl? I thought it was your parents. Oh yeah, I'm Billy's girlfriend. So, oh right, really?
Yeah.
But the support that she shows you.
Yeah.
Both offline, and she texts you sometimes as well, like,
Yeah.
is that support? 'Cause I have a laugh with her.
Yeah.
I send her a picture because we have that fan.
Yeah.
Right, we're in the away team, and the way she got up, I was like, bloody hell, I was not expecting that. So
she's a firecracker.
she's a firecracker. So she didn't love this. So we're in Guiseley away, and then a woman was like, Guiseley! In an annoying voice, and she said something bad about you.
Yeah.
Levi,
and she went off.
Around. What the F are you saying? So that made me chuckle. I thought that support.
Yeah.
And then your grandma, I was like that.
Yeah. No, I can't say anything but praise for her. I think she's everything you'd want in someone who's playing at a decent level of football or in any sport. You want a supportive partner, and she's definitely that.
She's gonna love this. But honestly, Billy, it's been a pleasure. Where can people find out about Mind Over Matter?
So the best place to find us is probably on Facebook, because that's where we're busiest. I think if you check us out, you'll see what we do, what we're trying to achieve. And I think, to be honest, I think we're only just getting started. Like you mentioned earlier, I think we can go bigger than Yorkshire. I think we can really try and publish it in other places and areas. And I think, it's just the beginning.
No, I definitely think you can go bigger than Yorkshire, just the beginning. And what's next for Billy Whitehouse? Obviously, Charlie, the season's finishing soon. Will you just get promoted? I think you might do,
Well, like I said to you before, I fancy us against any of the big six in the league, because I think people are quite intimidated by how we play and how we are as a group. We stick together. Football side, I just want to play at the highest level possible. If that's with Charlie or if it's with someone else, I think if you're not aspiring to play and keep progressing, then you're probably in the wrong sport. I think with the charity, I think it's just important that we keep trying to do the positive things and kick it on as much as we can. And obviously I've got my own football academy, which I'm loving at the minute. I'm enjoying that. We're getting high numbers now.
It's sick. I like how much of you I like how much work you've done. But honestly, Billy, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's been
pleasure.
like, I've loved it. And I want to say like a massive big up to you, Jonathan, because Jonathan is your inspiration, and I think it's just innate of Jonathan really, like how much far he's come. And hopefully, like, I'll meet him at a Charlie game or I'll see him at Mind Over Matter. But honestly, Billy, it's been a pleasure.
Top
Thank
man,
you,
Abs.
Lawrence. Thank you. Lawrence, can get a picture now of us.